Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. First Nations leaders are in Ottawa this week for the Assembly of First Nations winter meeting. Today was the first day of the Assembly, and judging by discussion on the floor, it appears the Carney government's energy pipeline memorandum of understanding, signed with Alberta last week, is not going well. APTN's Fraser Needham starts us off tonight.
Thank you.
In her keynote speech Tuesday morning, AFN National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Nepenak took direct aim at the Ottawa-Alberta MOU.
On the weekend, we saw a national report on the Alberta-Canada MOU state categorically that the mantra of free, prior and informed consent from Indigenous communities is gone, as if First Nations rights can be wiped away with one federal-provincial MOU. It was difficult to watch BC and many First Nations excluded from these discussions, particularly on the Pacific Coast.
She followed this up by saying if the Carney government plans to make Canada a worldwide energy leader, it will need to change its current approach to development projects that involve First Nations.
Over $600 billion of projects are forecast to be launched on our traditional lands over the next decade. The potential benefits are in the trillions of dollars, but they won't advance without First Nation support. Until an appropriate development process is established and founded in free, prior and informed consent, the Crown's constitutional legal obligations will not be met. This is the law, and it can't be wished away.
The MOU is signed without input from the British Columbia government or coastal First Nations. It opens the door to a number of legislative changes for a proposed pipeline from Alberta to the west coast, including lifting a long-held oil taker ban in the area. This doesn't sit right with the old Masset Village Council from Haida Gwaii, which put forward an emergency resolution against the proposed pipeline.
The Oil Tanker Moratorium Act is vital legislation as a result of over 50-year moratorium that is a result of recognized BC North and Central Coast are some of the most dangerous waters in the world. An oil spill in the area is not an if, it is when.
Late Tuesday afternoon, the Prime Minister himself addressed the Assembly. He said earlier in the new year, the government will be hosting a joint federal, provincial, territorial First Ministers meeting with First Nations. And the Liberals will also introduce First Nations clean water legislation in the spring, originally promised this fall. Carney also said projects like the proposed pipeline must be seen as a beginning and not an end. During the question and answer, Neskantaga First Nation Chief Gary Cuisis took the Prime Minister to task for failing to lift a boil water advisory in his community for over 3 decades.
And hearing you comments that you've been lifting boil water advisories in Canada, but I don't know which part of country you're talking about that's water is being lifted, but our community hasn't been lifted for 30 years.
In his answer, Carney admitted the government had failed the community.
And that's a failure, to be absolutely clear. You know it's a failure. You've lived through it most of your adult life. It's a failure of execution, and this is one of the things that this government is very focused on, is setting objectives, being clear about the objectives, determining why things have not worked as well as they should.
Carney stopped the Q&A before all chiefs could speak, upsetting Cold Lake First Nation Chief Kelsey Jacko.
Chief Jacko, please. We understand.
Assembly enters its second day on Wednesday. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
To Thunder Bay now, where the Chamber of Commerce is launching its Status Cards Welcome campaign. It's an effort to build what it calls a more inclusive and welcoming business community for First Nations people. The campaign is also designed to promote awareness of tax exemption rights under the Ontario First Nations HST rebate program. APTN's Mike McDonald has that story.
The Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce is distributing decals to its members for display in their places of business. The decals are translated into the local dialects of Anishinaabe-Moen and Nishinanu. The president of the chamber says the campaign aims, in part, to educate businesses on how to process a status card.
But then also to, be a welcoming visual for Indigenous customers as they're entering a store, to make it a positive experience, trying to let Indigenous customers know that the staff here have been trained and we are committed to treating you in a respectful way when you use your status card.
Chair Ed Collins, a member of the Fort William First Nation, says there is a need for education when it comes to status cards.
Well, I've been going to some businesses where when I pull up my status card, I get the eye roll or the, and then they have to fill out all their forms. And sometimes I could understand if there's a busy lineup, but these are rights that we have as First Nations people.
Collins says with the recent Robinson Superior Treaty payout to area First Nations, he would like to see that money flowing to the local business community.
100% agree that there's some money flowing into Thunder Bay, and we want to make sure that people shop in Thunder Bay, people shop at our local businesses, and spend that money here, right? So supporting not only First Nation businesses, but businesses in Thunder Bay.
The Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce contracted Engaged Creative Productions, an Indigenous-owned marketing, events, and communications firm, to design the decals for its campaign. The decals feature artwork from several woodland artists. The company's managing director says from what he's heard, the campaign is doing what it was designed to do.
I actually had a really great opportunity to see those myself in person just only a couple weeks ago. And we overheard people, acknowledging the decals and being just like, wow, like those are super unique, like what's that about? And they were checking out the QR codes, and that right there was just like, I'm just like, good, like this is clearly successful. This is hitting the mark that we intended to hit.
The Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce sent out the campaign decals to more than 200 businesses, but it's not immediately known how many are displaying them. According to a report sponsored by the local Community Economic Development Commission, Indigenous people contribute more than $1.5 billion to the regional economy. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Thunder Bay.
Thanks, Mike. An apartment building near downtown Yellowknife is officially reopening its doors after sitting vacant for a decade. NWT Housing, the corporation responsible for social housing, says the project puts them one step closer to their goal of moving away from private market rentals. Our reporter Charlotte Moore Jacobs takes us on a tour.
This newly renovated 36-unit building on 51st Street in Yellowknife is expected to offer new beginnings for dozens of people. A mix of 1- and 2-bedroom units for social housing tenants, something Yellowknife City Mayor Ben Hendricks welcomes.
Not long ago, this building was empty and aging. Today, it's ready to open its doors as safe and stable homes for Yellowknifers who need them.
Over the last 2 years, NWT Housing has been working on modernizing the Aspen Apartments. Formerly federally owned, NWT Housing acquired it along with $7.9 million from the feds back in 2023. Director of Infrastructure Services with Housing NWT, Daniel Corver, says it's a testament to the ability to invest in existing infrastructure and, with funding, get another 25 years out of it.
We went into this project with pretty good confidence that we weren't going to run into any structural issues or mold issues. We did extensive mold sampling in here as well. So I think on this one we learned that this was a good building. And
clients will see improved safety features with ventilation, a security system, and energy-efficient utilities.
While the auditor can raise the issues, the accountability lies with the corporation.
In October, the Auditor General gave a failing grade to NWT Housing, finding the corporation didn't ensure residents most in need of shelter had equitable access to public housing, nor did they properly manage the condition of their units. The GNWT accepted all the recommendations. While Aspen Apartments doesn't actually add any more public housing client spots, it will significantly improve the quality of those spots as NWT Housing moves clients housed in private complexes, often older buildings in dire need of repair. Minister of Housing Lucy Kuptana says this move will also ease pressure on the city's rental market.
The less we pay and the more we add to our housing stock means more affordable housing throughout Yellowknife. So we're not paying a private land lowered to rent units. We are actually complementing by adding public housing units into our stock here in Yellowknife.
There's roughly 300 people on the housing wait list in Yellowknife. Charlotte Moore-Jacobs, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
A debate was supposed to be held today at the University of Victoria in British Columbia by MLA Dallas Brody, who is known to deny residential school traumatic experiences. However, hundreds of students, survivors, and supporters shut it down. Our APTN's Tina House was there and has this update.
We're here at the University of Victoria, where just moments ago, members of the 1BC party were physically escorted off the campus grounds by police. And as you can see behind me, protesters are not having any of the rhetoric being pushed by Dallas Brody. We have more on this story for you tomorrow on APTN National News.
Welcome back. We take you to Norway House Cree Nation now in northern Manitoba to tour the new state-of-the-art hospital the leadership advocated for over 20 years. While it opened its doors in October 2024, not all of the departments are fully functional yet. APTN's T.R. Wheatley explains.
The Nanantaway Weegamik Center of Excellence opened its doors over a year ago, but behind the scenes, leadership continued to build capacity. Councillor Dion Clark says Norway House Cree Nation took the lead in getting this building up, using their own source revenue and finding creative ways to combine health, education and employment and training dollars. Only after they did that is when the federal and provincial governments pitched in.
So we worked closely with other major partners and had our own people start building this place. Everything from electricians, the flooring, every facet of this area, the mechanical side of stuff. So, because it's our people will be here to maintain the building and to continue the operation of this building.
It replaced the old hospital built in 1952 that was run by the First Nations and Inuit Health Branch.
Now I understand.
One of the much-needed departments in the Nanantaway-Weegamik Centre is the Renal Health Care Unit. Clarice Hutchings has specialized in renal health since 2020. She's often had to educate people about her department.
They think it's just a machine that a nurse just runs, that you slap a patient on and that's it, but it's way a bigger role than that. All the medication, their blood work, their electrolytes, their diet, you know, we have to look at all aspects, and then there's all their other issues that come up because there are patients, you know, they can have other illnesses happening, you know, pneumonia, or they could have a diabetic foot ulcer, they could have an eye issue, they could have gastritis where they're vomiting and diarrhea.
In the past 5 years alone, she's seen over 20 people have had to move to Winnipeg for dialysis. She hopes one day soon they can come back home. Currently, the capacity only allows for 8 patients 3 times a week for 4-hour visits. But they are working toward taking on 24 patients. In order to do that, though, they need more staff. Hutchings says her patients tell her they are grateful because they are cared for at home by their own people who are all fluent in the Cree language.
I've only been doing this for 5 years, and I can see a lot of the psychosocial aspects of what the patients go through. And being in the city is not always the best thing. And they tell us, you know, imagine being away from your kids, your grandkids, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles.
There is also an emergency room, primary and inpatient care here as well.
Hi. Hey, Joy.
How's it going?
Specialists like this physio doctor and others such as dermatologists, pediatricians, cardiologists, and orthotechnicians come into the community. Beverly Chartrand works with the specialists both on the ground here and through telehealth. Where patients get to have virtual one-on-one time with their doctor.
Some people don't know what telehealth is, but once they find out about it, they like it because instead of driving 8-9 hours out of town to go see a specialist for 15-minute appointments, they like it better because it's a long waiting list to see them in a city, and then they could see them faster here.
So this is a second birthing room.
Another vital part of the Nanantaway-Weegamik Centre is the birthing unit. While it's not officially open yet, Loretta Bayer says they continue to build its capacity, including trying to recruit staff and secure funding to pay them.
We have a birthing tub, we have a neonatal resuscitation, and we have 2 birthing rooms. So there's room for the family to spend the time here to support. The system has medicalized birthing for many years, and as a result, we've had to go into confinement. And you know what confinement is? It's almost like being in isolation in jail or something like that, but we have to leave our community for at least a month.
Bayer says the stress on the mothers has often resulted in premature births and other serious conditions, something she and others hope will change with this new hospital and other community initiatives.
We plan on building birth homes or adapting homes to be birth homes to provide a safe place for those individuals who feel threatened, perhaps through family violence or different things like that, to be in a safe, calm place to be able to carry their baby to gestation.
Norway House continues to work with their partners to get this birthing centre on the go. They hope to have their birthing model done by the end of the fiscal year. TR Wheatley, APTN National News, Norway House Cree Nation.
Thanks, TR. The Morrisseau project is continuing in Saskatchewan. The digital collection of Norvell Morrisseau's work is expected to grow as a new team of researchers are set to take on the task of finding Morrisseau's work and learning about his life. Video journalist Rachel May spoke with the gallery's CEO, now the sole steward and manager of the collection.
Norval Morisseau is the Anishinaabe artist called the grandfather of contemporary Indigenous art in Canada. Research into his work will continue following a move to the Mackenzie Art Gallery in Regina.
We're so excited to have this support to make sure that we can not only get all of the research that hasn't yet been made public out there in the future, but to continue looking at that legacy, continue doing that research and producing new insights into this important legacy and impact on Canadian and international art.
John Hampton is the CEO of the Mackenzie Art Gallery, which will now house the Morisseau Project. The project began at Carleton University in Ottawa in 2024 and brought together curators and researchers from across Canada to create a free, public online database. Hampton says it's exciting to see an Indigenous artist celebrated this way.
So to be able to celebrate these voices that really emphasize family, community, the interconnection of artists and minds and spirits, and how that gets channeled into this work that is about broader movements and histories and where we're going, rather than being solely about one individual who is doing this all on their own.
The collection holds about 3,000 items, including artwork, stories, letters, and videos from Morisseau's life. Westerkirk Works of Art, who collect and preserve Indigenous art, created the Morisseau Project Fund, an endowment that allows the Mackenzie Art Gallery to hire a team to grow the collection. The team will research, authenticate, and share what they find about Morisseau's works and life. Hampton says the fund ensures research and curation will continue for generations to come.
But the gift from Westerkirk is held at the South Saskatchewan Community Foundation. So they gift an amount that is managed by the SSCF, and then every year then we receive the interest from there. They invest it and provide the interest. That makes sure that this work can happen in perpetuity.
The digital database is available at morissausstorylines.com. The Mackenzie Art Gallery hopes to offer a physical way to view the collection in the coming years. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
Time for one last break, but stick around. We've got a preview of tonight's episode of Face to Face coming up. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. And Corinne snapped this photo of a pink and orange sky peeking through the trees as seen from a nearby riverbank in the RM of Alexander, Manitoba. Thanks for sharing. You can send your pictures to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, +2 for Fredericton, cloudy, and 5 for Halifax. -13 in Kuujjuaq, sunny and 10 below for Nain. -2 in Montreal, 1 below in Val-d'Or. 0 and cloudy for Sault Ste. Marie, London, and Ottawa. -5 in Thunder Bay, sun's out, and -12 in Sioux Lookout. -20 for Churchill and God's Lake. Sunny and 11 below for Winnipeg and Brandon, -13 in Dauphin. -11 in Regina, 10 below in Saskatoon. -10 in Meadow Lake, 18 below in Stony Rapids. In northern Alberta, sunny and -11 for Fort Chipewyan, +3 in Grand Prairie. -2 in Edmonton, +1 for Lethbridge. 5 above in Vancouver, +2 for Kamloops. +2 for Prince George and Smithers, -2 in Dease Lake. -20 for Old Crow, 3 below in Whitehorse. -8 for Yellowknife, -13 in Norman Wells. 16 below for Sax Harbor and Paulatuck. -21 in Chesterfield, 31 below in Cambridge Bay. -17 for Resolute and Igloolik. Juno Award-winning OG Cree artist Ace Anabi is our guest on an all-new Face-to-Face tonight. In just 3 years, he has dropped 3 albums, won 2 Juno Awards, been shortlisted for a Polaris Prize, and played shows around the globe. But as he tells us tonight on the show, his music career nearly didn't happen.
I was like scrolling social media one day, and it was like, apply to play the International Indigenous Music Summit. And I almost didn't do it because it was $40. Mm-hmm. And I was like really militant on paying off my student debt. So I was like, I joke sometimes that my music career almost didn't happen over $40.
Right.
But I did the application fee and I sent in this performance video, and these 2 women were like, who are you and how come we've never heard of you before?
And you can watch our interview with Ace Anabi in less than 2 minutes' time. He also performs his song Home for us later in the show. That's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Tuesday. You can find much more, including all of the latest from the AFN Chiefs Assembly, over on our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward, Marcy Miigwech. Thanks for being with us. Have a great night.